Hey everybody, just wanted to do a quick video kind of going over some of the trends we noticed on the periodic table, especially now that you have a little bit more detail about what an energy level is and what a valence electron is. So I'm just going to annotate directly onto this periodic table. I know it's a little hard because you guys don't have like a hard copy of the periodic table to write on, but this is a good thing to take down in your notes. Maybe just write down what the trend is, anything like that. So, first thing we'll talk about is the trend for valence electrons. And the trend for valence electrons is that it increases as we go across the top of the periodic table. So right here in this first column, there is one valence electron there. All right, that whole column has one valence electron. And I'll even, I'll even put a little highlight on that column so we know what we're talking about. So this whole column that I'm highlighting in yellow has one valence electron. As we move over, now this whole column right here is going to have two valence electrons. So two valence electrons, and I'll put a highlighted box on there as well. So that whole blue column has two valence electrons. Now, as we move over this way, remember in one of my previous videos I talked about how we're mostly going to be ignoring the transition metals when we're talking about these trends. We're going to skip all of this lower square right here. We don't care about it. I'm going to put like an X over it or something so we know not to look at it. Let's see. We're going to not look at that, skip right over it, and go over here. So following the pattern, if I have one valence electron in this hydrogen column, two right here, then if I'm just counting, this next one, it should have, oops, gotta turn the pen on. This one should have three valence electrons. Keep going with the pattern. Next one over should have four, right? You can keep going and going. This one should be 5, 6. That's a bad 6, I'm sorry. 7 and 8. And again, oh, that 8's off the screen, sorry. And 8. So again, looking across the top there, I'm looking at valence electrons. So VE minus for valence electrons. And that's my trend for valence electrons. I've got another trend that's present on the periodic table for energy shells or orbitals, which I'm going to go into right now. I'm going to erase all the annotations on here, so pause and take these down if you need them. Again, you should know that everything in this first column right here has one valence electron. Everything in this second column right here has two. Skip a few. This whole column has 3, 4, so on and so forth, all the way over to 8. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just erase my lovely artwork, and we're going to talk about the next trend. So for the next trend, we're actually going to be counting up and down the periodic table instead of left to right. We're going to be counting not the groups like we have been, but we're going to be counting the periods. So remember, you write a sentence left to right, you put a period at the end, so the periods are left to right. So periods tell us how many energy shells are going to be present in an atom. So when we're looking at a diagram of an atom, those circles, those are energy shells. Actually, I'll pull up a picture of an atom really quick so you can see. Alright, there's the atom. Remember we talked about how the circles were called orbitals, and that's where the electrons live? Well, this is one orbital right here with the number 1 on it. This is 2 orbitals, the second one. And remember that second one is called the valence orbital, so it's going to tell us how many valence electrons there are. But right now all I care about is like how many circles will this atom get. And how I figure that out is by looking at what period it's in on the periodic table. So let's take a look. Everything in the first left to right row is going to have, you guessed it, 1. Okay, so let me put a little highlighted box. It's really just going to be hydrogen and helium that have 1. They're the only ones in that top row. Then we've got the second row. Starts with lithium. It's going to have, it's going to have 2. So everything in this left to right row will have 2. And let me highlight all that for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So this whole left to right period, going from lithium to beryllium to boron to carbon to nitrogen to oxygen to fluorine to neon, all of those are going to have 2 orbitals, 2 circles, just like in this picture, 1 circle, 2 circles. We keep going on this trend downwards, where we've got 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so again, I'm looking at how many orbitals or how many circles it has. The question like that you would be asked on a quiz or a test would be, how many orbitals does sodium have? Or like, how many orbitals does a sodium atom have? So you'd have to find sodium, Na, and you'd see that it was in the 3rd period. You'd say 3 orbitals. So hopefully this helps out with some of the trends that we've been talking about. I'll be posting some practice questions and a walkthrough of those practice questions as well.